Is buyer activity the same within all the neighborhoods in La Jolla? Well, the data may surprise you. Welcome to your weekly detached market overview of La Jolla with your La Jolla native realtor, Tara Ravanbach, Lotzof Associates at Compass. And this week, we're discussing last week's activity. So that's from January 26th until February 1st. So as of today, which is Tuesday, February 4th, we have 77 active detached homes in La Jolla and 139 units in total. However, for the 77 detached homes, we really have 75 because I'm excluding two of them. One is in La Jolla Boulevard. It's like a commercial mixed-use building with retail on the bottom and residential on top, so we're not counting that. And then there's also a twin home in Mount La Jolla and off on Mount Soledad, and that one is just not, it's a twin home, so it's not detached. So we're not counting those two. And I want to just make one thing clear, which is yes, I'm pulling from the MLS and tax records and cross-checking and such. However, I am not just pulling all this data from the MLS and just reading it from the MLS. Like, I've actually created my own spreadsheet, which is my sheet on La Jolla, and that is how I track all the homes, and that's where I write my notes, the price changes and everything, and it's color coded as well. So that is a system that I've created for myself, so that is what I'm referencing. So this last week we have had 5 price changes, all reductions. Last week we had 7 price changes, 6 of which were reductions. And then if we're comparing the numbers from each to each, right? So last week we had an average reduction of roughly 484,000 at 5.39%. And then this week it was almost 196,000 at 3.73%. The range the week before last was from 1,000 up to 1.5 million, which was 0.033 to 10.72%. And then this week, the range is actually quite similar. Percentage-wise, it goes from 0.04 to 10%, where it's from 24,000. So one house as low as 24,000. And then there were actually 2 homes that reduced 300,000. The median last week was 400,000, and this week it's 250,000. So just from this data, we can already see that the average priced homes were less this week, which in fact is true. So if we're looking at what the average list price is after the reduction, last week, it's about $6.5 million list price now, after the reduction, 6.5 mil. And then the week before that, it's about 8.7 mil. So this last week, we've had lower price, on average, lower list price homes have the reductions. However, the reduction percentages were roughly the same, within the same parameters as the week before that. So we had 5 homes close this last week. And in fact, I'm going to add one more because it closed from the week before that, actually on the 24th, not the 27th. So we can include that this week for this week's numbers. So in that case, what we have is 3 homes. Soledad South had the most, right? So at 50%, 3 of the 6, Soledad South. Second place was Bird Rock with 2, and then Muirlands had 1. So the one on Soledad South that just closed on the 24th really stuck out to me because first of all, it traded for $1.6 million. The house says it was totally rebuilt with mountain views and such. There are some other notes which makes me believe, yes, it's an outlier, however. It sold for $1.6 million and at $477 a square foot, which I haven't really heard $477 a square foot in quite some time. And in fact, the neighbor's house just up the road on Desert View Drive traded last August 2024 for 1.6 as well with mountain views, but that one was a California ranch style home mid-century that actually traded for $550 a square foot. So I thought that was really interesting that there's 2 homes on Desert View Drive that since August have both traded at 1.6, both with pretty expansive, nice mountain views. And they were trading between $477 and $550 a square foot. So it is possible to get something at this price in La Jolla. Next, we have 11 new homes on the market, but technically I'm counting 7 as new because 4 of them had actually been off the market within either the same day or the last few months, and then they came back to the market. So technically not new. So in that case, we have 7 new and then 4 back on market. Also, the 3 of the 4 that came back on market had price reductions. One of them stayed at the same price. Now I have a really interesting story that connects to that last week's video, right? So there is actually a house in La Jolla Shores Drive off Calle de la Garza. Beautiful home, almost Cape Cod, almost East Coast style, has hedges up to here, and it's just sitting on the corner. sitting on the corner. So very private still with the hedges and such, although it's on the corner. So anyways, this house, they had the price reduction on January 21st, and this is the first price reduction. So 9.5 mil, they reduced it down 5.3%. So 505,000 down. And then, so that was on the 21st. So first price reduction on the 21st of January at 5.3% reduction. And then all of a sudden, a week later, like 6 days later on the 28th, it went pending. And now it's pending. So I thought that was pretty awesome. It appears, which is common practice, as I know from the data and my job, of course, that it is common practice for listings to either expire or be pulled off the market, withdrawn, whatnot. And then they come back to market after the holiday season when more buyers are out, and especially with a price cut. So that's just something to note. In case you're curious, the house itself is a 5-bed, 5-bath plus 3 half baths, 5,250 square feet, and the lot size is 0.23 acres. 0.23 acres. And then this one is flat. It's La Jolla Shores Drive area. So initial price per square foot for that house was $1,809, and $1,714 a square foot is what basically sparked a buyer to actually come write an offer and get them into pending status. Okay, next I do want to jump into the buyer behavior now. So as of right now, we have 23 pending homes in all of La Jolla, pending detached homes. And I ran some numbers between the active detached homes, how many of those there are versus the pendings. And I compared them, and what I found is the absorption rate on some neighborhoods are not doing as better as the others. So for this week, what I was comparing is I compared Muirlands, La Jolla Shores, and the Beach Barber Tract all together. So let's pull up my little sheet that I've created here. Okay, so the reason I'm looking at Beach Barber Tract, La Jolla Shores, and Muirlands is because of this. So this is a snippet from my spreadsheet, color-coded and everything. So 23 pending detached homes, and as you can see, Muirlands, La Jolla Shores, and the Beach Barber Tract are all tied with the most there. So I thought it would be interesting to take a deeper look at each one. What I'm comparing this to is actually another snippet of my spreadsheet, which is going to be pulled from the active detached. So that was pending, this is actives, and you can see it's color-coded for the areas. So first I have Beach Barber Tract all the way up at the top, so that's 8 active at the moment. We have La Jolla Shores with only 3, and then Muirlands with the most out of everything, which is 14 of them. I've created this table here so we can easily see the numbers against each other for the 3 areas. So what you can see here is we have the available homes for each area, the percentages that they have in availability, and then what percent they have in pending out of the 23 pending, okay? What we have to do is compare the percentages to each other because I want to see what the absorption rate is from the active homes to pending in the same neighborhood and compare that. And what I found is the Muirlands actually has the lowest absorption rate and La Jolla Shores has the highest. So La Jolla Shores has the most demand, Muirlands has the least demand, and then Beach Barber Tract is right in the middle about. So as you can see with the Muirlands, if there's 14 available homes out of 75, that's roughly 18.7%, which is higher than what is pending. So that means there's more homes that are active than pending in the Muirlands right now. La Jolla Shores, it's 4% of the total inventory that it makes up. But then when you can see what's pending, it's 17.4%. Look at the difference in that. Look at the demand just from these numbers. And then we have Beach Barber Tract, which again is in the middle of the two. So 10.7%, and then it's compared to 17.4%. So that one is also great. So next we have the pending snapshot, which is just going to highlight again the top 3 neighborhoods in La Jolla that have the most pendings right now. So the first one is Muirlands that we're going to discuss, right? So with the Muirlands, all of the homes there have a history of at least 1+ price reductions. All of the ones that are pending right now. In La Jolla Shores, only half of them have a history of price reductions. And that's only 1 price reduction, not 1+. And then Beach Barber Tract, 0 price reductions to go pending. So that's great. Next, we're comparing the days on market on average. So if we're looking at the days on market for the Muirlands, it says 42, but that's what the MLS is computing. That's not actually from the point where the agent's listing it in the MLS to the point where it went pending this time around, you know, whether it had gone pending before or whatnot. But from the point it was initially inputted by the agent, even if it was a previous agent, you know, within similar time frame, right? First inputted to the point of going pending this time around, on average in the Muirlands is 520 actual days based off of the data. So over a year rather than 42 days. And then if you're comparing that to La Jolla Shores, we have 87 actual days there. And then Beach Barber Tract is 82 actual days. So it looks like La Jolla Shores and Beach Barber Tract are more similar. And then the Muirlands is typically taking longer and having more price reductions. Now, this, of course, isn't to say this is every deal in the Muirlands. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying based off of the data, this is what it looks like. Okay. Next, we have to compare the pricing. So as we know, the average list price in the Muirlands right now, it's higher than the remainder. The remainder are on the low fives, like about 5.1 to 5.2. And then in the Muirlands, it's almost up to like 5.8 right now. And the price per square foot is actually lower in the Muirlands compared to La Jolla Shores and Beach Barber Tract, which in the Muirlands is just about under 1,400 square feet. In La Jolla Shores Beach Barber Tract, it's around 1,900. Of course, that's the case because the homes in the Muirlands are larger. As you can see, the lot size is just under half of an acre at around 20,000 square feet, right? And then the square footage is around 4,500 square feet. Whereas the other two, they're much smaller. So less than 8,000 square foot lot on average for the two. And then the square footage is less than 3,000 square feet. So of course, the price per square foot in the Muirlands is going to be lower. But what I'm saying is that it appears based off of the data, based off the absorption rate and whatnot, that more buyers are overlooking the Muirlands than the La Jolla Shores Beach Barber Tract areas. And that's what it shows here. Now, I'm not saying that means that Muirlands isn't as good as those other areas. No, in fact, every neighborhood of La Jolla is fantastic. There's only so much land here. And La Jolla is a beautiful place. So we're not saying one is better than the other. What we're saying is this is what buyer behavior is. This is what the data presents based off of what sample we're pulling. And I think that's enough for this week. I'll do a highlight home of the week next time. It's just getting a little too long now. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Again, I'm Tara Ravanbach with Lotzof Associates at Compass, your La Jolla native realtor, 858-414-6310. We'll see you next time.